What's up, DIY Queens? It's your design bestie, Cara Newhart, and this is Make Space.
Okay, welcome back to Make Space. Today I have my friend, Stacy Ling, and we are talking all things gardening. So welcome, Stacy.
Hey, Cara, thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited. So I just want to start because I always envision gardening as like an activity I'm going to do later in life, like when I'm old and have so much time. But you actually found gardening a lot earlier than that. So can you share like your journey into how you got started?
I did. So I was in law school, believe it or not, and my husband and I were living in this very small condominium. We had no property, but the condos were nestled in among like little townhomes and stuff. And we connected with a group of people like our age that had some townhomes. And one of my friends there, she did so much with her little bit of space that she had to grow stuff in. And like, it was like she had this cool cottage garden of really pretty flowers in this like small strips of land that it just really took me. And so I sparked an interest then, and I asked her all about it. And that just kind of, one thing led to another. And I started growing stuff indoors. I did not find success, though. I can tell you, I tried growing like a rubber plant. I killed that. And I killed like an alocasia. I don't know. I killed a couple of like easier plants. And I got like, I was kind of getting in my own head, like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I'm not good at it. I'm terrible. And once spring came around, I was talking to her again, and she was like, hey, why don't you try growing impatiens? You have that little part by your door as you walk in. It had stones, but I just like moved them and, put in a couple of little impatiens, and they did really, really well. And like from then on, I was like, oh, I'm a total gardener.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. But I love the like hurdle of having to get over like you killed a bunch of plants first, because I did the same thing. But mine was reversed, where I kill everything outside, which it's like it should be easier. But it's like the indoor plants, I guess I can see, like they're in my sight line, so I remember to take care of them. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people are intimidated because it's like, oh, I've killed so many things. But it's like we all do when we start. So
well, and you get a little bit of an emotional attachment too, because you bought this like living thing, and then like you're so excited about it. And like, at least in my case with the indoor plants, I think I was over loving it.
Yep. Same. Over watering for real. Yeah.
And so, like that kind of, led to their demise. But then, once you kind of learn or you work with plants, you get a feeling and a vibe, and then it just becomes like second nature.
Right. And I like what you're saying about the emotional attachment, because I feel like there's more to it than just like how things are looking. I know like within my own DIY journey, it's like I set out to make spaces like before and afters, but what I actually got was a lot of like personal growth and challenge. And so I guess, is there for you, through learning how to garden and learning how to grow things, like how have you grown by maybe the ups and downs and trial and error kind of thing?
Well, I think one of the important things is like kind of getting out of your own head a little bit with it.
Yeah.
And so like I subscribe to the motel theory of gardening. And what that means is like some plants will check in, they'll love their digs, and they'll hang around. And then others, check in, they don't really love their stay, they check out, and that's cool.
Right.
And so once you kind of, wrap your head around that kind of a mindset, like, hey, sometimes plants just were not meant to be. It takes some of the stigma out of growing things, so you don't feel so bad. And you're like, hey, you know what? That plant just didn't work out.
Right.
Just wasn't for me. It wasn't for my lifestyle. Didn't like the conditions. And that's okay. There are plenty of plants out there that will work for you.
Right. And what matters is that you're trying things and experimenting. And then the ones that do work, it's like, yes, like perfect.
Yeah. Then you run with those.
Right. Yeah. I love that so
you
much.
master that, and then you're like, okay, well, I got really good at growing, let's say black-eyed Susans. Now I'm going to move on to coneflowers, or I'm going to move on to something, something else. So it kind of bridges, going from one plant to another, because you start like growing bits of confidence as you go. So it's really confidence building.
Yeah. And then that's what's beautiful, is like your garden is a reflection of you and like what works for you and what plants you like to grow. And it's so much more personal than I ever like imagined. I think growing up, I viewed landscaping as like your parents put plants in the yard, but it's like, it's so involved and so like personal. So I think that's so cool too.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you've recently written your first book, and I'm so excited about this for you because you have so much to share, so many good tips and strategies. And it's called Beautiful and Easy Care Flower Garden. Can you share like why specifically you wanted to teach about flowers? Because I know you grow all kinds of things and you have so much over there, but flowers specifically, I think I recently learned like cut flower gardens were a thing because I'm so behind. But
Yep.
you know, it's like
Yep.
vegetable gardens, landscaping, but like you grow a garden just for flowers that you're cutting and you're displaying. So can you teach us a little bit about like flower gardens and yeah.
Yeah. So my why for bringing this book to life, and actually even for starting my blog to begin with,
Yeah.
was because throughout, so I've been gardening for like 25 years, not to date myself, but I've been gardening for like 25 years. And over that time, like I've got 3 kids. I'm a busy wife, running from soccer games to ballet recitals and all kinds of stuff. And I love to grow flowers.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, though, I really needed to find a way to make it easy for me to grow and care for while I was kind of doing all that. So I didn't have to spend all the hours babying things and pinching things back and doing things. So, so my why is because through that time and being in like play groups and PTA meetings and all that kind of stuff, I talked to a lot of friends and family that were like, oh, I don't know how you do it. I kill everything. I have a brown thumb. Oh, I can't grow anything here because the deer eat all my plants and there's nothing pretty to grow.
Yes.
And like all those things, like all those negative things, I really wanted to reach that mindset and say, no, you can do this. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
There are easy ways of approaching it and easy ways to do this so that you can grow flowers that will work for you and your lifestyle.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much because it's definitely something like I feel intimidated by because to me in my head, like knowing nothing, it's like it just seems like it's going to take a lot of time or a lot of like knowledge. So it's like more just the hurdle of like, how do I even get started when I don't know what I don't know kind of thing. Do you have any tips for beginning?
Yeah. And so like when I was writing this book, I was kind of thinking about that person, like just like you're saying now and saying, well, do they really want to know? Does that person really want to know how to make compost? Like all the little things, or are they going to just be like a deer in the headlights with that? Or do they want to know like, okay, I just need to have that in my soil to make it better to feed my plants.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you can buy that at the nursery. Well, I'm not saying don't make your own compost because if you can, you should. If you want to, definitely do it. But it is like another step. And if it's like another hurdle of saying, gosh, I have to do that too. I have to do that. You don't. You can go to the nursery and you can buy that and that'll make it easier for you. It's like buying vegetables pre-cut at the store. Right. It's a little more expensive to do it that way, but it makes the process of cooking a little bit easier. And that's kind of the same thing. So my approach to it is like, look, you need to do it. It's good for your plants. It's good for your soil, but you don't necessarily have to make it yourself.
Right. And I like that because then we're sorting out like what are our day one essentials? Like here's the basics that you need versus like what are things you can over time learn how to do and get more hands-on with, where it's more like at first it's like I need someone to help do this for me and I will just like put it together kind of thing, which is what I did in DIY. There's so many parallels. Like I used to go get my wood cut at Home Depot because I was afraid to use a saw and then just screw it together. So in the beginning, the process is like, how are you getting hands-on, at least getting started. And then later it's like you can take on more and more. So,
like don't feel like you have to do every little thing if you can farm it out. Like buy the compost. Right? Don't worry about making it yourself.
I love
Take that out of it. I'm not saying don't use it, but go buy it.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad about it.
I love that so much. So what are some of your favorite flowers to grow, or maybe some you would recommend like starting out with?
So if someone's starting out, let's talk about annuals first, because annuals are something you buy every year. They only live for that one season. Right. And there are some that are really easy to grow. For sun, I love petunias, like super petunias from Proven Winners. They're amazing. They just They're beautiful. They come in a lot of vibrant colors. Hummingbirds love them, and they just kind of like trail and they fill out. They're really beautiful, easy to grow. If you have shade, something like impatiens or begonias are really fun. Lantana is another it gets a little bit big and can trail a little bit too. That's another beautiful annual for sun. Easy to grow.
Yeah.
If I were talking about perennials are the types of flowers that come back every year. And some, if you can choose ones that are native to your area, like Coreopsis or Agastache or like Black-eyed Susans, those are easy to grow because they've been growing in your area for years, like years and years and years. And so they're a little more resilient to like pest and disease. So you don't have to worry about them as much as you would, say, other plants.
Right. And would you recommend starting with seeds or like buying the actual flower, putting it in the ground and like going from there?
I would start with annuals. I would start with annuals off the bat, because if you have no experience growing flowers, just go to your local nursery, buy some annuals, put them in the ground, throw them in a pot, and just kind of start small, get your feet wet, and just kind of get acclimated with growing things so that you can, enjoy that. You know what I mean? And find that little small success. And then if you love it, move on to perennials and then get into like starting seeds. I mean, sunflowers are really easy to grow from seed and to start, but as a starting thing to do, I would recommend going with annuals.
I like that. Like, give yourself a quick win so that you're like, I can do this. And then you can branch out from there. So what are some strategies? I know like planting in the ground versus containers can be super different. What is like the thought process behind that in terms of like, how are we caring for things or picking things to go in the pot or in the ground?
So the biggest thing when you're planting in the ground is knowing your light conditions and understanding your hardiness zone. So we all have a hardiness zone. I'm in zone 6B, used to be 6A. So what's hardy for me is going to be different for someone in, say, zone 8. Yeah. So you'll be picking your plants based on that and your light conditions. So if you're not sure what your light conditions are, you're going to want to watch that spot for a full day. Anything that's between like 6 to 8 hours is full sun. 4 to 6 hours is like part shade. And then anything less than 4 hours is considered shade. So that way you'll know what your light conditions are. And then when you go buy your plants, you're going to read that plant tag. And that, like, because you don't want to grow roses in the shade. Right. I mean, they need full sun. Then the other thing, too, is your soil. So I always recommend people get a soil test if you're planting in the ground, so you know if your soil is like acidic or if it's more alkaline, because some plants need that. Like azaleas and rhododendrons love acidity and they do better in acidic soils. Right. So that's kind of important for growing things. Now, if you want to grow them, it doesn't mean you can't grow them if your soil isn't acidic, because you can amend the soil to help it or just grow something else. That's easier. So then you don't have to go through all that. So it just gives you, it's like knowledge is power. But, if you don't take that step of doing a soil test, you'll just learn the hard way. You'll
see it when it does. You'll be like, something has gone wrong. Yeah.
Something went wrong.
And it's not light, it's not water. So maybe soil. Yeah.
Yes, it could be the soil. Yes. So, and it's good too to get a soil test, because you know what nutrients are in there, and you can amend the soil accordingly and make it healthier for growing plants.
So how do you do a soil test? Is that something you can like get a little sample and mail in and do yourself, or is it like official?
You can do it through your local cooperative extension. I have seen kits online. You can buy them online and it'll give you some results. But I think the most reliable way is definitely through your local gardening extension.
Okay, that's
so like
interesting.
Here in New Jersey, we'd go through the Rutgers, and they'll give you all the results and explain it to you, and it's great.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I only view those because on the contracting side, soil test is like we've spilled some chemicals and we need to like figure it out. But yeah, just knowing like what your soil is, like that makes so much sense.
Yeah, well, like especially if it's a new build and all they have is like topsoil there.
Yeah,
there's
who knows
no
where that came from
nutrients in that whatsoever, and you're going to need to do a lot to like fix that soil, before you grow stuff. Because if you just throw a plant in there and walk away, it's not going to like it.
Right, which is what I do. So now I'm seeing my folly.
Yeah, we we got to amend the soil because that soil is what feeds the plants and helps it grow. And so over time, as you grow your garden in the ground, that soil will improve. Just as you add more mulch and you add more compost and you add more garden soil, like it will improve over time. So, in addition to getting it off to a good start, just doing all those things on a yearly basis really does feed your plants and keep them healthy.
Right.
From a container gardening perspective, you'll be doing a lot of the same thing in terms of knowing what your light conditions are for the space. So let's say you've got a window box or a balcony or a patio or something or a porch. You're just going to want to know what kind of light that spot gets so you know what kind of plants you can grow there.
Right.
And it's a little bit different there because where container gardens are concerned, you're going to work with potting soil versus garden soil. And you'll be potting up your plants in that potting soil in a pot and then maintaining it in whatever outdoor space you have.
Yeah.
So, but again, you want to match that to your light conditions. And if you mix different plants in the container, you want to make sure that those plants need the same growing conditions in terms of soil and light. But you'll also want to feed them too because they need nutrients, because every time you water your plants, the nutrients wash out of the soil and like fertilizer will keep them fed.
Right. Okay. That may be another
That's
error
a lot to
I'm
unpack,
having,
I know.
right? No, but I like this. So it's like the big picture stuff is we're looking at light and then we're strategically planning our plants. Then kind of more like ongoing maintenance is our soil. And then day to day or week to week is like watering kind of things.
Yes.
Those are like our three
and your watering
basics.
is going to look different in the different seasons too. So like if you're like in the spring, like here in New Jersey, we get a lot of rain, it's cooler. So maybe I'm watering a container or even my gardens, maybe it's only like one day a week. It could be one day a week. A good thorough watering, like not just like a little spurt, but like a good thorough watering. Yeah, soak it. So, but in the summer, like if I've got containers, I might be watering every day. And a little tip for you guys is what makes that easy is you can just buy like a little irrigation, like a drip irrigation system. You can buy them on Amazon. I mean, you can buy them probably even at your local nursery. Little drip irrigation system and run that, set it on a timer, and then you don't have to do those manual watering chores. It'll keep your plants going.
That's what I need because it's like the remembering to water is where everything dies.
That is a lifesaver in the summer.
I love
especially when you're traveling too, because it's just on timer and it's set and forget.
Right. Done and done. That's another interesting thing because I remember thinking like plants have two modes, right? It's like we're growing and we're pretty or we're dead. But you actually choose plants based on what they can do for you year round. And I remember talking to you about some of your favorite plants and saying like, oh, I like in the winter when the snow is like hanging off of it, or in the fall, it like starts to dry out and it's really pretty. And that was such an interesting perspective shift because it should be obvious. It's like there's 4 seasons, but maybe I've never lived anywhere there's 4 seasons. So that could be the problem. But just the dynamicness of like plants and how they bloom at different times. And so when you're thinking of your garden as a whole, I guess are there certain areas you're working in more, or do you kind of mix and match things so every area has something going on throughout the whole year? Like, how does that work?
I definitely look at plants in terms of seasons, what they look like through the seasons, and what kind of color and texture they bring when they're in bloom and when their foliage is out, because foliage can do a lot too. Like even if a plant, some plants will bloom very briefly, but their foliage is like stunningly beautiful. Let's say like a 9-bark. Like they have this beautiful, graceful, arching foliage. It's a shrub, it's a flowering shrub in spring. And like the color on the foliage is really beautiful. During the season, it's like a little bit darker. And then in the fall, it gets to be like this brilliant, vibrant, autumnal hue that's just beautiful. And so when you think all that through, that plant not only blooms in spring, but it's constantly changing and doing something in your garden. So you've always kind of got something going on. Yeah. Right. So even for example, one of my favorite perennials, and it's because it's easy, number one. It loves the sun. But it's also, to me, like a 4-season plant, even though it's not blooming in the winter, is Sedum Autumn Joy. I love that, that plant because it like looks great while it grows. It's just got this really cool textured look to it.
Yeah.
And when it gets its flower heads, it adds a lot of like dimension and texture to the gardens. It's got this like little chartreuse flower heads that didn't open. And then when they open, they burst out to being like a pink, and then they deepen in color to like a darker pink. And as they finish up and dry, you can use them in like your winter containers. You can toss them in like your like window boxes when you dress them up for winter.
Yeah.
And even if you just leave those heads up in the snow, like just seeing the snow sitting on them is really, really beautiful. So you can, that's why I consider it 4 season, even though technically it's not blooming then. You know,
right.
It just does a lot. So like look for plants like that you can get that year-round structure in your garden.
Yeah, that's such an interesting shift. Instead of just looking at it as like, what does it look like when it's blooming? Like, how does it change the whole year round and add like texture and all the interesting elements? That's so cool, and definitely not a way I thought about gardening before, for sure.
Yeah, and so annuals are kind of like the plants that give you that constant bloom, because you plant them, they're blooming, like a marigold, let's say. You buy that in spring, it blooms all season long until frost, and that gives you that constant color. Well, perennials have their bloom cycles. They kind of grow, bloom, and change, and so it kind of, those annuals fill in that gap. Shrubs as well, they also grow, bloom, and change, and then their foliage might change color and stuff. So having all of those things going really brings a beautiful garden together. Oh, and if you tuck in some spring blooming bulbs too, I mean, even better, because then you get that early season color with flowers, and you didn't even have to do anything out there.
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing, I think, seeing like all the like the, what is it, daffodils, I think is what I have, like pop up in the spring, and you're like, yes, it's here, like finally winter's over. Like, done. But that's another interesting thing, because I didn't initially realize those are actually planted in the fall. Like in my brain, it was like plant in spring. And it's like, no, some things are better if you plant them in the fall so they can get used to things. Like what's that about?
Yeah, they need a winter chill before they bloom. So like tulips and daffodils, they need that like cold spurt of winter in order to bloom. So that's part of their process. Yeah, but like around here, I mean, especially with deer, tulips, they will be decimated. So if you grow tulips and you're in a spot where deer are a problem, you definitely want to use like a repellent on them or protect them, because they'll eat them like overnight. But the rest of them, they tend to leave alone, like you know, hyacinths and daffodils and stuff like that. So
and then I also saw like things, because they bloom at different times, you can actually stack your bulbs so that some come up and then more come up. I thought that was so cool.
Lasagna gardening, just like layering them at different depths so that they all kind of do their thing, and you just have this constant show. It is really important to leave the greens up, even though, like, I know the flower is done, you can cut the flower stalk down, but you got to leave the foliage, because that foliage is what puts energy into that bulb for next year. So you definitely want to leave that until it browns and yellows. It really doesn't look good anymore.
Right.
So a little trick for that is to plant some annuals in front of them to kind of hide them a little bit while they die back. Or you can even take like a rubber band or something and braid the foliage so it's not so unsightly.
Yeah. That is an interesting part of gardening. That's like, sometimes there's times when things just look ugly and they like have to, but learning those strategies of like covering them up, or I think that's so interesting.
And that's part of like just doing and learning, like as you go. Like, so, you know, unless you actually do it, you don't see how it actually works and experience it for yourself, you know. But that's why when you start with things that are a little easier, then you can kind of like learn, you know, get your little successes and grow and get those experiences along the way.
Yeah. I feel like I skipped over the book a little bit, so let's go back.
That's okay.
Can you share a little bit about like the process of writing it? Like, what was that like in terms of getting all your knowledge in the book?
That was like one big brain dump. I mean, you know? I mean, I blog, so I have been writing about this kind of stuff for a while. So, you know, I really just compiled all of my thoughts and tried to bring it together into this cohesive work. And again, as I was writing it, I was literally thinking about different things my friends or family have said to me over the years. And so I was directly talking to them.
Right. Yeah.
As I was writing this, like Like, I mean, I think one of my friends locally was like, I cannot grow anything outside because we have herds of deer and I can't get anything to bloom. And I was like, challenge
Right?
accepted.
Like, I got you.
I got you. I'll come to your house and I will plant your garden and you will have flowers. And she was surprised that,
Yeah.
we grew stuff there. So
Yeah.
like it is possible. And it's just, but I think it's just like, it's like life, right? Like,
Mhm.
something beats you down a little bit and you're like, I can't do this. And it's really getting out of that mindset of I can't to, okay, what can I do differently to
Right.
make this work? Because there's something there
Yes.
that will work.
Yes.
And there's a plan for everyone.
Yeah. And I think that happens in all areas, like DIY projects, home projects, gardening. It's like that ebb and flow of like letting yourself be in the process and try things without guilting yourself or shaming yourself for being like, I'm not good at this. Like, you're not good yet. And that's okay. And it's like, there's a point at which you didn't know how to do anything. And so like, let yourself be in the process and let that be the fun part, is like the experimentation, which is harder to do than it seems. But yeah, that's where the real joy is then when things happen and you have the after, you have stuff blooming, you're like, yes, I did that. Like, I made that. Yeah.
Yeah. And just starting small and starting with those little wins are going to really, help you level up every time you go to grow something else, because you're going to take that knowledge with you to every plant. I mean, things die on me too. I mean,
right. Yeah.
It's not like I have success every single time. Like this fern that I have a fern behind me.
Yeah.
And I did not have success growing ferns for years. And I used to say to everybody, ferns and I are not friends. We are not besties. I don't love them. And I couldn't figure out why every year it would die in my house. And it took years to really come to the realization that I was not meeting its needs. It needs humidity. And every winter, it just hated my home. And by like late February, early March, it would just be done. And once I realized that, I was like, hey, what if I got a humidifier? And I added a humidifier to my home, and I got the plant to make it.
And now it loves it. It looks so good.
Now it's happy.
Yeah, I love that so much. But yeah, I'm excited about your book because you have so much experience, but also it's like you can find anything online, but knowing like the order in which to put things, or kind of the curation of the information where you feel like you're being guided through the process versus like, what do you Google? Like, where do you even start? So I'm excited for people to pick it up and get started. I mean, me specifically too, to get started growing flowers, especially because it's like we have lots of time. I say lots of time. It'll go by so fast, but it is still winter and spring is coming. So do we have any tips for like how to maybe get prepared and get planning and when to get started?
So I think a great way to start thinking about your garden is to even create a mood board. Pull together some things that you love. And it doesn't have to be plants and flowers, by the way. It can just be like a cool space that you love that has colors that you vibe with. Or like, add some plants and flowers too that you like. And just kind of start. And don't even think about your light and your soil. Don't think about any of that stuff. Just pull together photos, images. Maybe it's from an influencer, maybe it's from Pinterest, maybe it's from, the World Encyclopedia of whatever. And just pull together some ideas of looks that you love. And that way, when you go to, pull your garden together and want to buy plants, you can pull from those color schemes and try to bring that vibe together to create a space that you're really going to love.
I like that because it's like there's so many different vibes out there depending on what you mix and match, and you can really make it be anything you want. So to spend some time like thinking of the look overall is it's how you're going to win.
Yeah, like, do you love vintage? Do you love modern? Like, are you going to go thrifting for some cool garden stuff? Or are you going to go and buy some really modern looking pieces? Is this a place where you're going to sit and hang out with your family? Or is this a place where you want pollinators to go? Like really think about what mood and what that purpose is of the space that you're going to create. Maybe it's not a new space. Maybe you're rehabbing an old space, but think through how you want to use it and what you would like for that to look like so that you can start to kind of bring it to life.
Yeah. And then what are some of your favorite like non-plant items, like pots or decor, or like how do you incorporate those as well?
So I love pottery.
Mhm.
I love pottery. But I also really love going thrifting for stuff because you
Yeah.
can find, things for a song that you can repurpose as a planter. Like vintage crocks are great. Like they're
Right.
nice, solid pieces, and you can just, put a house plant in it,
Uh-huh.
or you can pot it up. I did a couple years ago. I potted up an old vintage baby stroller that I just
Yeah.
turned into a planter, and it was just like a little unique item to add a little whimsy to an area that, just kind of add a little bit of character, made it a little more fun than just like a terracotta pot. Not that
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with terracotta. I love
Right.
terracotta, but
But
just
it can
something
be
different.
more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
expect the unexpected.
Uh-huh. And I know the house you have now, which we can get into, it has a lot of like statues. Did you end up keeping
It
all of
does.
those?
So far we did.
Yeah.
They had a lot more. They had a lot
Yeah.
more. They were a very interesting family, and I love what they did here because they were here for 30 years. They
Yeah.
put their heart and soul into this place, and they fought through everything. And one of the cool things that they did was when a tree would die, they would have it carved into this like cool sculptural artwork, which is just
Yeah.
wild, right?
That's
Like
so
someone,
cool.
yeah, like
Yeah.
someone went out there and like carved these trees into something really neat. And so I
Yeah.
wouldn't take them down just because I think a lot of artistry and a lot of time went into them. But when
Yeah.
when the people sold to us, they took a lot of their statues with them. So,
Mhm.
but there are some things still here, like out in the formal garden, we still have those statues and the beautiful structure that we have out there too. I'm
Yeah.
sure they couldn't move that.
Right. Like too heavy. Yeah. But that's so interesting because like I bought my 2 houses before this in a row were new builds, like came in blank slate, pretty basic, and added 2. And then these 2 houses are like definitely people have had, I mean, this one's like 1840, the other one's 1880. So it's like many people have been here and built on them. So it's like very interesting to like rework like what's
Yeah.
there and what do we keep and how do we honor it, but how do we get rid of the stuff that's like, ugh, that's not me, like get it out. But I'm sure that's even more interesting with a garden with like, because that takes so long to establish. So
Yeah, like how do you work it? Like for me, last year the newest addition was the potager garden. I
uh-huh.
call it the potager garden. It used to be a basketball court. They used it as a basketball court.
Okay, yeah.
But it had pavers on the ground, so I'm not sure how
weird. Yeah.
easy it was to do basketball.
Dribble. It's like your ball's going all over. Yeah.
I love the idea, but it's this beautiful, like enclosed, huge patio space with like garden space around it, and I just saw it differently. And when we moved here, my girls were like, "Oh no, we have to keep it as a basketball court." And I was like, "If you guys pick up a basketball once in the next year, I'll keep it a basketball court." And
right?
They never did that.
Never
I mean,
did.
they're all in college and stuff. They never did that.
Right.
But yeah, the idea's cool. Let's have a basketball court. It's
Right,
cool.
right.
But I saw it differently. I saw it as a place where I could grow food and my cut flower garden in the same space and make it really beautiful and have like an outdoor dining space. We eventually want to DIY like an outdoor kitchen out there with maybe like a pizza oven.
I will come help.
Really, like,
sign me up.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
That'd be so fun.
That would be. We could do like a little farm to table kind of dining experience there. Like, how cool would that be?
Amazing. That'd be so cool. Like so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to definitely come here sometime and check
really
it out.
do.
You would love the gardens here.
Yeah, I really do. I
So
need a full
cool.
tour and I need to learn all the things, like all the plants. I have this plant app now where you can scan it and it tells you what it is. So, because when I was renovating the yard, they had so many plants. It was really overgrown and really a mess. But I would scan all of them to like see what they are. And that was so exciting. I was like, this is perfect. Because otherwise I would not know, like how do you know?
And that's a great way to learn too, because like back in the day, I used to just peruse catalogs. Like I used to just look at catalogs and just seeing what I liked, and I'd read about them and learn their zones and all that stuff. And that's really kind of how I started growing as a gardener and learning stuff. And so then when I would go to the nursery, I'm like, oh, there's that plant. There's that cool plant.
I know her.
Hey, that sounds like really fun to grow. And so that's kind of how you learn. So like that plant app is perfect for that, because you're just like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
Like, especially like me moving here, I had no idea how much they had planted here. Like I had no idea. So the whole first year here, it was like Christmas morning for the gardener because it was like every day something else was like growing and blooming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's this? What's
What's
that?
this?
What's that?
That's so
And it was
exciting.
awesome because we have a lot more shade here than I had in my former garden. And
Right.
so I wasn't growing a lot of these plants either because
Yeah.
I just had a different garden with a
Uh-huh.
lot less space. So I just didn't have as much. And it's just really been a joy learning all these new plants and being able to experience them, you know? And so
Right.
like you, I had to look things up. I was like, I don't know
Uh-huh.
what this is.
Right.
I
Right.
don't know what this is. You know, what is this?
Uh-huh.
So it's been really fun.
That's so fun. What was it like leaving your other garden behind? Was that like emotional? Did you take things with you? I would have like dug things out of the ground. Like, you're all coming with me.
It really was. I mean, for years, my husband was trying to get me moved for like the longest time because
Uh-huh.
he's like, we can do this or do that. And I was always like, nope, this is where we're staying. Nope, this is
Right.
where we're raising the kids. This is where we're staying.
Aw.
And then eventually I kind of got to this point of like, okay, now's the time.
Yeah.
And so I was casually starting to look and I found this house and, you know, I really loved what it had. So it made it a little bit easier
Uh-huh.
to leave, but I wanted to take plants with me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And I did like divide off a few pieces of things, but I also had just had a hysterectomy at the time.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't do too much to do that. And we had
Uh-huh.
so many people helping us at the time. So I couldn't ask anyone to do any more help for
Oh,
me.
yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I took only pieces of the most important ones that I knew I really wanted to take. And luckily the ground wasn't frozen and I
Yeah.
was able to get some of them in the ground. So
Yeah.
I have a few here, but not a lot.
But not a lot. Not as many as you wanted,
No.
maybe. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's sad because, you know, like if we drive by or my kids drive by, they're like, oh, there's the old garden,
Yeah.
even though they
Oh.
didn't really do much with it, but they watched it grow and watched
Yeah.
me do all these things. So it's, you know, there's definitely an emotional
Yeah.
attachment to it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'd be driving by it like a lot. Like, what does it look like now? Like, are they keeping up with it? Like, is it still still
Are they
good?
still doing
Yeah.
anything
Right.
with it? Or, you
Aw.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah,
awesome though.
but I miss it, but I love it here. So.
Yeah, like a new adventure. Like sometimes it's like you're ready for a change, a new era, and
I think that's what it was. Like, I think my husband and I were both really ready for a change, especially
Yeah.
like with my kids. You know, my youngest just went to college this year. So
Uh-huh.
it's been like, you know, they're starting to leave the nest.
yeah.
So it's like and now we have this cool house where there's a little bit more space for them to come home to
Uh-huh.
instead of us being on top of each other. And there's more
Yeah.
property for me to do more with.
Uh-huh.
You know, like it's
More
just really
room.
been like invigorating for
Yeah.
me, especially just to be able to be creative again. You know,
Yeah.
we were really built out at the other house.
Right, right. And you reach the point where it's like we need more room to make more
Yeah.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And this house definitely, the property is just so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, everyone, if they want visuals, because I feel like we keep talking about your garden, but everyone's going to need to see
Yes.
it. So they can follow you on Instagram is the best place. Is that your favorite?
Yeah,
place to be?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah.
I've got a blog at stacyling.com and my socials are at Bricks and Blooms.
Yeah.
So you can find me on all those
And I will link
things. I
those.
do little garden tours and stuff on the blog and
Yeah.
stuff. So you can really get a good sense of
I'm very
property
invested. I'm
there.
like, I might not be growing my own yet, but I will look at yours in the meantime and think about it. It's so fun. And then your book. So when's that coming out and where's the best place to grab that?
So the book officially releases on Tuesday, February 6th, which is like
Oh my gosh.
really, really close.
So soon. Yeah.
And you can buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, I think Christian Books, Books A Million, like
Yeah.
all those. There's an audio available. You can get it on Kindle.
Yeah.
And
Did you do the audio? Did you read it?
I did.
Ah, that's
I never
amazing.
read my own book. It was so fun. I went to the city,
Yeah.
New York City, and
Uh-huh.
spent the day there just like recording the book. It
Oh
was
my
really
gosh.
wild.
That's so fun. Oh,
such a
I'm
fun
so
experience.
excited for you. I can't wait to see it be out there and everyone I'm sure is going to be just so pumped to get into it.
Me
But
too. It's surreal going from
Yeah.
like this document that you're just working on and writing and now seeing it come to life and seeing how the publishers help bring it to life. Like how Harvest House, my publisher Harvest House brought it to life. Like it's just amazing what they
That's so
did.
good.
And they really made it user friendly. Like they
Uh-huh.
helped bring this whole easy care approach like to
Yeah.
life. And I just
Oh,
love the result. I think it
it's
turned out really
amazing.
well. I'm happy with it.
Uh-huh. And then are the photos, a lot of them are from your actual garden, like throughout
Yes,
the
they're all of my
illustration?
garden.
Uh-huh.
I took all of them. I took all
Yeah.
of those
Oh
photos.
my
Yeah.
gosh. That's amazing.
It's
How
crazy.
cool to have it like all in one place, like your manifesto kind of, with all your
Yeah.
experience. Yeah. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
exciting.
just
Well,
all there.
yeah, I will link that also in the description so everybody can find that. But you think there's anything we missed? Like any really good tips or tricks or
Well,
advice that
we were touching on cut flower gardening, so why don't we chat about that for a
yeah, I
minute?
feel like we
Because
didn't unpack
like
that all the way.
yeah, so like cut flower gardening has now become its like own thing, right? Like you
Right.
probably see it everywhere. Everyone's talking about it,
Uh-huh.
and it for years, like for me, I did not want to cut flowers from my garden because I
Okay.
really enjoy seeing them in the garden
Yeah.
and didn't
Uh-huh.
want to take away from that. So doing a cut flower garden is a way to cut those flowers and bring them indoors. And the more you cut, the more they'll bloom. So you want to be cutting them.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But I wouldn't like for cut flower gardening, I wouldn't recommend someone do that right off the bat if they're just learning because
Okay.
again, you want to start with something easy like annuals and kind of get your feet wet, learn how to grow some things, and then get into cut flower gardening. And there are some easy flowers to start there. Most of
Okay.
them you'll probably start from seed because you can find some things at the nursery, but it's not gonna
Not
be
the
what you
same.
can do growing them from seed. Yeah. And there's like a few different ways you can do it. You can start them indoors. You can direct sow them outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what you're growing. And you can also do winter sowing, which I really like. You can do them with cool season flowers or vegetables if you want to grow those.
Right.
And you can actually take like recycle some containers. You have like those chicken rotisserie containers you buy and
Yep.
stuff. And you can make them into little mini greenhouses. You put
Oh,
some soil in there, sow your seeds, and you just put them outside like right now.
yeah, that's perfect because this is my favorite like lunch is a rotisserie chicken because I wait till the last minute and like run and go get it. I'm like, lunch, perfect. So that's like such a fun
Yeah.
tip.
So you could even do that with some flowers you can do that with that grow pretty easier, like sweet peas, snapdragons,
Uh-huh.
calendula, larkspur.
Yeah.
And if you want to try doing that, you totally can. And it's really as simple as that. And you just put it outside and you let them acclimate to the outdoors. They'll eventually sprout and the rain will hit them and you don't
Yeah.
really do much. And it's great. It works really well. It works really, really well.
Okay, that's awesome. So, but the style is different. So some of them are going to be like the little, like not one at a time, but kind of like smaller blooms. And then some, like I'm thinking like rose bushes, like, or what is it? Hydrangeas. Like some things are on bushes and some things are in
Yeah. So
their own
hydrangeas,
little.
like most people probably even have hydrangeas, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are growing them, even if they're not a gardener.
Right.
Those make great cut flowers. You can do so much with those. Like even if you don't have like a specific cut flower garden, you can
Right.
just do so much with hydrangeas. That's in my book. I actually do talk about hydrangeas, how to grow them, how to dry them, how to care for
Perfect.
them, how to propagate them,
Yeah.
how to do stuff with the fresh flowers and all that good stuff. But they're really fun because you can just cut those blooms and bring them inside. And they just look amazing, and
Uh-huh.
they're easy to grow.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
so
can
exciting.
find them at the nursery, so they're easy to find too.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've been spying them out. I'm like, I'm going to put some in my front yard. We got a little bit of space, like a tiny strip, and I think they'll work. But I will test my
yeah. But
soil
if you want to
first.
get in, exactly,
Yeah.
if you want to get into growing other things like sunflowers, I mean those are super easy to grow too.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit more of a process. So
Right.
it depends what you want to do. Like you just have to think through what you want to do. And
Yeah.
I would recommend if you're starting a cut flower garden, and you can start one in a container, just take a container and try to do one. Start
Right.
small so it's not overwhelming and you kind of just learn the process of doing it. And then it's a lot
Right.
easier to take more on next year than it is to buy like 10 containers and try to do all these things. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like
Right.
start small and get some experience, get your feet wet, and then graduate to doing more. And
Yeah.
you'll love
And
it.
then you'll know what
Once
you
you start, it
like.
won't stop.
Uh-huh. It's like that's my real holdback of getting started is I know this is going to be an addiction and that's where all my money will go and we're just going to have to accept that. Oh.
100%.
Uh-huh. I love it. Well, yeah, this was amazing. There's so many good tips in here. I'm so excited for everyone to connect with you on social to get to see all the visuals and see your garden tours, and then get the book when it comes out. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for listening. And if you've got more episodes to catch up on, binge on. Don't let me stop you. But if you've got a second, you should come say hi on Insta at MakeSpacePod. And if you're an overachiever, you can also leave a review and I'll love you forever. If you're new here, hit that follow button to officially become a DIY queen and join all the amazing humans tuning in every week.